I love this programme so much because it is so diverse. Because this time of year is all about the Christian message being told in the form of hymns and carols, with Advent starting today. And at the same time, Sikhs are trying to get their message across with a much more modern approach to music through hip-hop. I kid you not. Narvir Singh trained as a lawyer but gave up that particular calling to pursue his dream of being a poet and a musician.
I was riding the Hounslow to Central on the tube when I met this rude dude who said he saw me on YouTube. I was wearing flip-flops on the way to charity shops, and the guy next to me had a jar of green frogs. He said, "I don't mean to be disrespecting, but why are Rastas like you carrying weapons?" I laughed. I said, "Nah, I'm not Jamaican, just because I live down the road from Kingston." I told him, it's not an arm to do harm, it's for defensive means through love and charm. The charms they learn how to strum, his heartstrings that were given by his kings.
Well, Narvir Singh says he came to a better understanding of his faith on the way through his music, and I'm pleased to say he joins us in the Channel Islands this morning. Why did you leave the law, a nice, steady, sensible job, to follow your musical dream then, Narvir?
Hi there, hi, thanks for having me. For me, it's always been important to have art. I think every single one of us has a voice, and I think it's important for us to feel okay by expressing that voice. I've always expressed myself outside of whatever I'm doing, even while I was technically a lawyer. For me, I think we should all be expressing even in the evenings, even after work. And I think it would really help with the mental health crisis we're facing. And it kind of explains the phenomenon of colouring books for adults. I think we really want to just tap into that almost inner child, I guess, and find ourselves. And I think that's really important.
Why did you turn to music and to poetry as a way of doing this? Did this help you redefine yourself, learn about your own identity, perhaps?
Yeah, I think good art has four big elements. I think it's good content, good composition, and technical skill, and the last one, authenticity. I think if you do art from a real authentic place and you tap into who you are, and you put that on page, or you put that out in the world, I think it's really healthy. I think it's a magical experience, and it can really it can transform you as a person, and it can heal as well. So myself, if you've gone through discrimination, or if you have any kind of trauma, you can kind of explore that, and you can also you can overcome it using art, which I think is a very powerful thing.
As you might appreciate, the Sikh population in the Channel Islands is very tiny indeed, so it's not so much ignorance. We just don't encounter many Sikh people, and one of your poems is about people being scared of you on the tube in London, where I would have thought, Sikhs are much more common and prevalent.
Yeah, I suppose it's not always necessarily numbers, a number situation, and often people do misunderstand things. And I suppose it's interesting. Sikhs we don't convert people, so we don't necessarily put the message out there in a way where we're like, "Hey everyone, we're over here. This is what we're about." I think we just get on with things, and naturally, if you want to know more about us, generally, I think people come across as Sikh, and they start noticing certain behaviours, and you can see where that comes from, is from our Sikh.
So ironically, a smaller community like ours with fewer Sikhs might understand more about your faith and your traditions than a larger community.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose that's the beauty in London often. The good side is, people don't really pay attention to you because looking different is actually normal. So I guess it just depends, and you can always take it how you want to take it. And I think it sounds fun as well sometimes, being the only person, and then people will ask you, and then you tell them. So
you're the only Sikh in the village, as it were. Narvir, thank you so much for joining us this morning and giving us an insight into your life and into your faith. Really good to talk with you.
Thank you.
That's Narvir Singh there, who trained as a lawyer but gave it up to pursue his dream of being a poet and a musician. And it's his poetry and his hip-hop music that's brought him to our attention. Brilliant. Really good to hear from him.